all ship liners, shippers, and the terminal operators to operate with. So MPA had stepped in. So when you now bring back your container, you don't need to be struggling to enter the port and you are told that there is no space. Yeah. Then when you say there is no space, you pay demurrage. So that's why the truckers struggle to quickly drop it. So there is now a system in place that take it with your truck to Lily Pond. As soon as you enter Lily Pond, you are in the port area. You can drop it and go get out. That is 60 or 70% of the trucks you see on the road are empty container carrying trucks. Yes. A little bit also export. Then you now have the manufacturing concerns. Ordinarily, those trucks should not be seen on the road because their terminal is empty, waiting for them to come and remove sugar, remove flour, remove Indomie noodle. Then because the empty containers had blocked the road, those ones cannot get it. So we have developed a system which we have used before during the construction of the Wharf Road. This thing was not there. That was 2017 to 2018. That's the most better part of 2017. So when you now come up with the traffic management system that says trucks should stay on the bridge, the empty containers should stay on the bridge to be cleared because they don't have a column. So they were now being stopped on the bridge. The implication is the one who has easy access to the port, the flatbed, the sided, the silos, the fish trucks, and those manufacturing companies who are they too cannot get into the port. And the traffic now extended to Ikorodu Road, Mile 2. That is for the dry cargo. So what we are working on now is clear the road, let them go to their park. They have parks. Then they didn't stay in their park because they first staying in their parks. Somebody is on the road playing some funny game and is moving like. So our responsibility is also to ensure that that is removed. So seriously speaking, what I'm saying is, if we get them off the road by noon today, and we spend the next 2-3 days to clear the backlogs that needs to enter the port, and we put up a call-up system that is trusted and is transparent, and the shippers, the terminal operators, and the truck owners, not the drivers. Do you know some of these drivers, after even loading from the port, we have report this morning, after loading, they are still on the road. They are waiting for the owner to come and give them petrol money. So there is a lot of things going on that is just not the best way to do business.
So, I understand we have a legal practitioner joining us from our Abuja studio, Mr. Wahab Shitu. Mr. Shitu, thank you for joining us. You've been listening to the conversation. Tell us, what are your thoughts as regards this new move and the plans? We've heard the executive vice chairman talk to us about what their plans are and what they are going there to do. In the next 14 days or thereabout, they're going to clear up the whole place. A traffic management system will be in place, and Apapa will have a new lease of life, so to speak. Mr. Shitu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So I asked a question. I said, you've been listening to the conversation, and Mr. Okwefa, Executive Vice Chairman of the Presidential Task Team, has told us what they are coming in there to do to ensure that Apapa gets something like a new lease of life. Do you think, what are your thoughts as regards the whole situation?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think any attempts to arrest the Apapa Gridlock has to be assessed in the context of appreciation of the problems. It is only when we appreciate the root cause of the problems that we will be in a position to prefer realistic solutions. And some of the problems that are causing this gridlock are several, and I may just briefly itemize them. One is the state of the roads. The state of the roads leading to the port is in a sorry state. And so there should be conscious attempt to fix the roads in order to reduce the gridlock. The other issue is the location of tank farms around the port. There are so many tank farms, scattered around the Apapa, port. there will be need to relocate those tank farms to some other convenient area in order to reduce the gridlock. The gridlock is also caused by the concession. You know, concession that has removed the control of the port from the Nigerian Port Authority to some other 5 terminal operators. Now, this has affected, you know, the enforcement of standards and control around the port. Again, we also have to look at the initial design of the port. It was initially designed to be a multi-purpose, you know, port with one single operator. But what you have now is 5 terminal, you know, operators, and with service by only 1 gate. This, we may have to review that by allowing some other private, you know, sector participation. Above all, what are the solutions that government should immediately be looking at in order to arrest this gridlock? I've said before that we need to fix the roads. Some of the roads there, like I said, are in a deplorable state. Secondly, it is important to, you know, the rail access, to provide rail access to the port, so that some of these, you know, the freight and the goods, crude oil can be moved through the rail system. This will go a long way in arresting the gridlock. Apart from that, I will also propose that there should be greater collaboration between all the security agencies in the ports. So many of them, there should be synergy. In order to, if they work in harmony, they are likely to be able to ensure, you know, greater efficiency. I also propose the setting up of truck holding bays to ensure movement of goods, in addition to a review of the pricing, you know, system in the ports.
Okay.
If you have a holistic, you know, approach around some of the suggestions that I've mentioned, this gridlock is likely to be arrested. But above all, there must be political will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
It looks like there is political will right now, because we see the effect of the order
everything
already.
is said is correct, and the government had addressed an holistic solution with a short term, medium, and long, and that's why you have all the roads around the port are now awarded. Okay. They are awarded for construction. Okay. Wharf Road is completed, Creek Road is under construction, Apapa Gridlock is under construction, and then the same thing with Liverpool is under construction. Also, the rail to Apapa will be there by December, and the inner roads are also under retooling. Then badges, movement with badges is also ongoing, and so almost, in fact, it's perfectly correct.
You know, since you're talking about this, hold on, let me just bring this in before we get lost in thought. Someone sent in a mail from Ghana. The name's Diamond, and he says Ghana is a small country. They have 2 ports, Tama and Takoradi ports, and the person's wondering, how is it that Nigeria has other ports, but it looks as if everything is just channeled to Lagos?
Yes.
What happened to, let me bring it to you here before we come back. You are the Maritime General Coordinator, Maritime Unions and all. Why is it that
Mr. Kwaifa is here representing
Mr. Kwaifa will weigh in on that?
He may have some privileged information.
Yes, we'll come back to you, but let him answer, then we'll come back to Mr. Kwaifa. How has this worked for you, seeing that everything
comes to Lagos?
There's Calabar Port, there's Warri Port, there's Port Harcourt Port, there's Onne.
Well, like you said, it's a government affair. It's not the union's affair.
Did the unions react when the other ports were somewhat stopped from?
We have severally made a lot of presentations and a kind of advice to the government to decentralize this port issue. We have on airport functioning. We have
it's functioning right now.
Yes, it's functioning.
So why don't goods go there?
Vessels are coming there, fertilizer vessels, and some of these vessels comes there, and transporters also operate there. You also have Warri Port and Calabar Port. They are not evidently utilized, and the whole business centers in Apapa and Port here, Apapa Port here. So if government can decentralize it, you know, make use of other ports, I think it will help so much to the congestion.
I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. It's not government. It's not government bringing in goods.
No, who owns the port? Is it not government that regulate the port?
If I say that I want my container delivered to One, there's no way my container is going to end up in Lagos.
Anyway, we are not importers. We are service.
Mr. Khan, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, Mr. Okwefa will wait, or maybe after Mr. Nwani has spoken, then Mr. Okwefa will do that. But we'll come back in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. We're in our closing moment. So, Mr. Nwani, that what we were talking about earlier about the situation. How is it that everything comes into Lagos? The economic implications. How is it that the other ports, they have material resources that are wasting?
One, we should recognize that Lagos and Ogun State are the industrial hubs of this country. In fact, 60% or 65% of businesses done in Nigeria are done in Lagos or rooted from Lagos.
When you say industrial hub, people in Newi and Onitsha will not be smiling with you.
Yeah, they do the industry there, but not as much as Lagos and Ogun State. That's one. Two, the other ports in the Niger Delta areas, we've seen situations where the security issues there is also very, very hard. You know, so government need to provide security. Incentive is what they need to give to importers and exporters to use those ports, and this incentive is secured road and better routes. That's one. Two,
and reduce charges.
Get the agencies that are in charge of working in the port, the NAFDAC, the SON, all those eight or 9 agencies to have a presence in those ports. Beyond that, give incentive, make a clearance issue or a process issue faster, and more efficient and even cheaper, so that importers and exporters will be incentivized to use those ports. And the last point I want to make before is about sustainability. This also goes to the vice chairman. We talk how many people have trucks that enter, truck owners. They're a very big problem. It's only in Nigeria where I go and buy one truck and I'm already operating. It's a big business in other parts of the world. So part of the sustainability that should be taken back to PEBEC is to reorganize the truck ownership system. Yes, I can go and buy one truck, but I don't need to operate it. You put it to a company that can operate it, that will meet certain standards. So I think the standard of trucks that apply this road and the behavior need to also be standardized, not just truck owners. The guy that buy 1 or 2, 5 trucks should not operate it on his own. Take it to the company that can, that is the international best practices that we need to put in place. And that is where private sector come into play as far as this conversation is concerned.
Mr. Okafor.
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact,
and they still on our roads.
The drivers are
Can you please address it?
Yes. Well, since the ultimatum was announced, the truck operators, we are doing our best to ensure that success is achieved, and by achieving that, we have also mobilized our members to go on the road and sensitize the drivers. For instance, yesterday we put 2 to 3 of our buses on the road to go around Lagos, all the axes, to sensitize the drivers one-on-one, and they are complying. Sometimes too, we may not expect manners to fall from heaven, because the Tinkan Road axis is completely bad. So those trucks that have managed to park there, it takes a little time for them to do a reverse and go back to their private parks. So they have encouraged the private parks. That is one good thing the government have done. And if by tomorrow any truck is found on the road after the intensive sensitization we are doing, well, I will rather suggest that the government apply other measures to ensure that all trucks are out of the road, because we are doing our best. And again, want to also use this opportunity to thank the federal government for this initiative. Yes, it's true, we've had series of task force coming to address the issue of the Gridlock, but it has been the military task force, and their primary assignment is not traffic management control, and that is one of the reasons it has always failed. But now, with the new traffic management team, the police, the LASMA, and the FRSC, I think they will be able to manage the traffic situation, and with the call-up system being effective and transparent, I think it will cushion the effect, and businesses will return to Apapa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Koifa, please include in your closing statements any privileged information you have regarding the other ports in this country. Is there any plan to make them more functional?
Let me just by saying that there is an holistic plan, and the issue of all those eastern ports are also included in the plan. And it's not as if it's going to happen, it's already happening.
Okay.
There's an holistic plan that deals with the issue of trucking with rail. And I think the Minister for Transportation mentioned that about 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That is also in play. There is the development of inland ports in different parts of dry ports and inland ports in different...
We hear that the Oyo State Governor has just signed the COO for the dry port in Ibadan.
So many things are going on. So our own responsibility now is the takeoff of the open of those programs, that we should go and clear the entrance, create the ease of people getting in and doing their business in a normal way to allow for many of these other processes to go. And let me also appeal to the truckers. What we are doing now is in their interest. But more importantly, to the truck owners who owns those trucks, don't ask your truck to come to Apapa for the next 2 days if you don't have any business to do. The ones that are there will take us about 2 or 3 days to be serviced. And it is when they are serviced that those parts we have identified, about 50-something of them, will be free to receive new trucks. And to warn, any truck that we impound, we will prosecute. The driver, the owner of the truck, and the shipping company.
The shipping company.
And we will not release the truck until an undertaking is given and based on the judgment from the law court. So it is a zero tolerance exercise. But we have given this 72 hours for compliance, voluntary compliance. And as soon as it expires, we will work with human face. We have given, the government has given them a civil enforcement authority. You have LASMA who are ready to do this job. They are trained to do it. You have FRSC for safety. You have the police for security. And from what we have seen in the last 4 days talking with them, they are happy with the system. The operating order will develop, were jointly developed, and everybody has signed to those operating orders. Okay. And I will believe things should be in.
Let's hear from Mr. Wahab Shittu. Your closing statement.
Well, my final point on this issue will be to say that attitude is everything. There must be a deliberate change of attitude by all the stakeholders operating around the ports. If attitude changes, it's going to impact positively on the operations of the ports and arrest this gridlock. Again, I'm happy that government has realized the magnitude of the problem by declaring a state of emergency around the ports. This is what is required in order to be able to arrest the gridlock. Government should be looking in the direction of creation of yards, truck yards, to ease movement of fleet. Government should also be looking at the possibility of establishing truck holding bays where some of these trucks can be stationed before movement of goods. Again, the rail system, the rail assets that I mentioned earlier is also critical. I'm happy that government is also looking in this direction. Above all, what is important is a change of attitude. And I look forward to a greater synergy between all the security agencies operating around the ports. If there's greater discipline, if you have enforcement of standards, and above all, if attitude changes, I'm happy Mr. Okwaifa is there. He's a guru in this area. If you have people like that, like Mr. Okwaifa, being involved in some of these operations, I know the attitude will change. And I think
thank you very much, Mr. Shittu. Thank you very much. Mr. Shittu, a legal practitioner who joined us from our studio in Abuja. And we had in our studio Mr. Vincent Wane, business and investment consultant. We also had Mr. Stephen Okafor of the Council of Maritime Truck Unions and Associations, And we have the Executive Vice Chairman of the Presidential Task Team on Law and Order in Apapa, Mr. Kayode Okwaifa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All of this means that we look forward to a new day in Apapa. And this should make those who have businesses in Apapa, those who live in Apapa, this should put a smile on their faces, that all this will become a thing of the past